So I get a message from my girlfriend while I was at work. What was it? Monday or no, Friday night, I think. And she had texted me because she was on her way because we share a car and she was using it. She had texted me that she had jumped over a guardrail after a cat that she found on the side of the road, right?
Oh.
To
Yeah.
catch it?
To catch it. It was like the stray. But she didn't get it. So she's like, if I see that cat again, we're going to get it. And mind you, I get off work at like 3 in the morning. It's 3:30 in the morning, and we see this cat on the side of the road. And we chase it to like this local business and corner it and capture it. Turns out it was super skinny, was blind.
Oh no.
It's a young cat though, and it doesn't know how to use a litter box.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I've been dealing with a room full of cat poop for the last couple days.
So you guys just took the cat in? You didn't even... Did you take it to the vet?
Yeah, it just went to the vet today. It's all healthy.
Okay, good.
Everything.
But it's blind.
It's just its eyes are permanently damaged. We don't know what happened to it. Could have happened to it while it was a kitten.
Woof.
So
you're gonna keep this cat and take care of it?
We're gonna try to see if we can find a home for it because I already have 3 cats.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I have 3 cats and a dog, so I don't think we're gonna try to keep it.
Oh man, well, my heart goes out to this cat. At least you saved.
Yeah,
saved
really.
It.
No, the cat's not gonna die.
Blind.
And especially with the it's snowing and freezing now.
It's like negative 10 degrees here tonight.
It was bad. It wasn't cold then. It was still warm outside relatively to what it is now.
It was 40 degrees on Saturday or something. I was getting ice cream.
Like that.
Now it's negative 10.
Now it's negative 10 outside.
Pittsburgh.
Polar vortex, Arctic freeze, whatever they call it. I don't know. Something dramatic.
Whatever happened, it is now negative 10 degrees outside, and I walked my trash down and fell 3 times yesterday. It's not great out there.
Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Sam, and beyond today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey, guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And this episode is months, years perhaps in the making. Nintendo has finally announced the Switch 2, and they've said very little, but you can be sure we're going to make an episode out of it.
Can I say something?
Yeah, so what are your first initial hot takes?
It's super boring. I don't care. Like,
honestly
the leaks were far more interesting than the actual reveal was. The reveal had nothing to say.
My biggest problem is that Joy-Con port is going to be the single biggest point of failure on that thing because it just looks like it's going to break.
It might.
Yes, so magnetic Joy-Cons, but it slots in somewhere, which I found interesting.
You're going to drop that and you're going to snap that little slot.
Maybe. I mean,
you're just going to break it. They'd have to do some heavy reinforcements if you drop your Switch.
It does seem like a point of failure.
Nintendo drop tests
Nintendo
everything, though. I mean, because hinges are a huge point of failure, too, but like Nintendo hinge products tend to be fine.
Yeah.
The Game Boy SP, the DS, the 3DS.
Maybe the Joy-Con will separate mechanically if it's dropped.
Yeah, maybe.
I just like how they increased it in size by like...
Yeah, everything's a little bit bigger.
That is nice.
It seems to be going for a more mature look, which is very un-Nintendo. It's all black with the colored accents, which Connor was sure was fake, but was absolutely real.
I stand by it being a terrible idea because it looks like a PC handheld at this point.
I mean, that's probably what they're going for.
That begs the question, though. Like, I think this is probably intentional from Nintendo to try and court, or like not court that audience, but say that, hey, this thing is going to be a handheld PC and also play Nintendo games. Like, it has the same design language as something like a Steam Deck.
And you can use the Joy-Con as a mouse now, apparently.
Well, okay, so that's not confirmed.
No, but it was heavily hinted
in the trailer, they did have those Joy-Cons sliding around on their sides.
And they showed the optical port.
Very much seems like mouse functionality, but obviously Nintendo hasn't come out and said it. Like, a lot of teasing happened in this, like, 1-2 minute trailer. It was like 1 minute, right?
It's 2 minutes, 20 seconds.
2 minutes?
I've watched it 100 times now because every YouTuber I follow had to do their own video on it.
Yeah,
it was so
people
quiet.
people picked apart every second of this thing.
There's nothing to it, though. It's just the Switch, but it's going to perform a little better, and it's a little bigger. That's really all they showed us.
Yeah, that's all they showed us. I'm sure there's more coming down the pike. There is a Nintendo Direct happening in April.
April 2nd.
Dedicated to the Switch 2, and that's going to be very interesting. We're finally going to get a look at games. We did see a very brief look at Mario Kart 9, 10, whatever they're going to call it. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
Something.
It sure looks like Mario Kart. They made Donkey Kong ugly.
The one piece of information I was able to glean from that is there were 24 racers on that track.
Yeah.
Which is double the amount in traditional Mario Kart games of the past. So that's cool, I guess.
I guess.
Very, very chaotic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still just so early. But like, just speaking to the design of the console itself, I actually quite like it. I like the black. Like, I'm a big fan of like
I like it as an option.
black consoles.
Like they released the Switch originally with the gray Joy-Cons as an option, and I think that's fine. But this being like the only option, I don't really like it. Like, because Nintendo products are toys to me.
Yeah,
Like-
I don't know if this is like a. I'm sure they'll have more than one SKU because they did with the Switch.
I
at
hope so.
launch.
Because there's no world where this replaces the Steam Deck as my go-to handheld when I'm traveling. It's just not going to have the library for it. So I kind of like for it to be something that looks good while it gathers dust on my shelf. And I don't think that this does look good.
I disagree. I think visually it looks better than the Switch 1, in my opinion. I think it looks
the
sleeker.
same. Yeah. I mean, the only thing they changed is the Joy-Con.
Well, I mean, so the screen is bigger, the Joy-Con's bigger, the docks, I guess, more refined. I think it just looks a little less like a toy, which is very un-Nintendo. But I personally like that design language.
It's just a difference of taste. I want it to look like a toy, I guess. And you don't.
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, so bigger Joy-Cons, bigger screen. I don't think we're getting an OLED screen, but
No reason to believe we are.
no
right
reason
now.
to believe we are.
Which sucks. That sucks so bad. I don't want to buy two of these. But
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'm never gonna play the thing handheld anyway, though. I never play my Switch handheld, so I guess it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, I'm the opposite, where I mostly play my Switch handheld. So this is very much going to be a handheld device for me. I'm probably never going to use that mouse functionality. Like I don't understand like if that's true. I mean, if you want to play keyboard mouse, just play on PC. I mean, why would you?
It's definitely
especially
a weird
'cause
choice.
The Joy-Cons being bigger is a plus because the Joy-Con is a very uncomfortable controller. But even at that size, holding it like that, like top down, that's got to be extremely uncomfortable unless you have really small hands. Like that would cramp my hand holding it like a mouse like that, I think.
I don't know. I haven't done it. I saw some people on Reddit saying that it wasn't uncomfortable to do, even on the current Joy-Cons for them, but I haven't tried it. Because again, I don't know why. Think of it as a mouse, I think is not how Nintendo's going to see it. Seeing it as a sensor that can detect when you're rubbing against a surface. Like I could see it like thinking like
Yeah.
a Mario Party or a WarioWare, like there's a mini game where you have to erase a chalkboard or something. I bet they'll do fun
I
stuff
like
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
that's more like
way
what
more
this is.
appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, literally, technologically, it's going to be a mouse, but I doubt it's going to be how you aim in very many first-person shooters. I just don't see that. I bet Fortnite would integrate that, so that Switch players would no longer be the bottom of the food chain on Fortnite match. But other
Have
than that,
some degree of motion-based aiming.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
a mouse is still king for aiming in any game. I like gyro. I think it's comfortable, and it can be almost as good as a mouse, but mouse is still king for skilled play. So any of the multi-platform games, I could see that being integrated. Could see it in Doom, stuff like that. Probably the hardcore stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, if the tea leaves are read correctly here, we are going to get a lot more third-party games on this thing. This thing is going to have more third-party support than recent Nintendo consoles, so having some kind of FPS enhanced control would be a big deal there.
There are also rumors that there's going to be a Mario Paint game, which was the original.
What's Mario Paint?
So the Super NES, I think it was Super, not original, had a mouse peripheral that worked with a game called Mario Paint that was just like an art software that you used a mouse with. You could draw pictures. It was a big deal back then. You could draw pictures, you could make little music and stuff. I think a mouse would be super useful in Mario Maker. It'd really improve the workflow for building stuff. There are use
I don't know if
cases
you
in
guys
Nintendo games.
saw this, but we do have an extra button now
The C button.
on the
Maybe.
right side. Yeah, C button, maybe, I don't know. It is a kind of an odd thing to me though, because like it's small enough to be more like one of those utility buttons like home or share,
Yeah.
but it might be like some third thing now. No idea what it could be, because like aside from that, the button placements, the sticks, everything else is the same. We just have an additional button now that will probably, I'm guessing, feed into some extra functionality of the Switch 2 that they haven't talked about yet.
There's still some copium. It's the copium button. There's still some people trying to say that it's going to have like Wii U like functionality where it's going to be able to
Yeah,
send.
I actually saw some speculation on that too, because I think there were 3 total like power modes for the graphics chip in the Switch 2, and we know of handheld mode, we know of docked mode, and now there's apparently some sort of docked but also handheld mode. I don't know.
So they were suggesting that the C button would be how you like a cast button to cast to the dock and put it on the big
That would be cool.
screen.
I mean, it wouldn't be a Nintendo console without some peculiarity, and I think that opens up a wider discussion of, there have been all sorts of think pieces since this thing was revealed that like Nintendo is smart for playing it safe and doubling down on their base, or Nintendo is very un-Nintendo for seemingly doing a boring iterative sequel console. Where do you guys fall on that spectrum?
I'm of two minds. I think it's smart to play it safe. I think they were really smart to do that. I think it was dumb. I know we were on here like 2 weeks ago begging them to reveal this thing, but I think it was dumb to have such a boring reveal. There was nothing to be excited about in this reveal.
Well, I think they basically had to do something because everything was leaking, and Nintendo really likes to control their own narrative. And historically, Nintendo's a pretty tight ship. Like, Nintendo things don't really leak.
Yeah.
So I imagine they must have been frustrated. Because, like, they have a Direct in April, which implies to me that they didn't intend on talking about this until much later.
Maybe. But just the lack of games, the lack of... I mean, there was genuinely, like, we're grasping at straws. I'm not excited to go spend a couple $100 on a box that is the same as the box that I have right now. That is not exciting to me.
I think the make or break moment for this thing will be the Direct. Like, that'll be when they show all their first party games, what's coming to this thing, why should you be excited about Switch 2? This was just to formally announce that this thing exists, which wildly had not been done yet to the public. Like, yes, in an investor call they had that they'd be talking about this thing, but this was the first, like, communication to the public that this thing actually exists.
I can't believe they called it the Switch 2.
Yeah, they called it the Switch 2, which, again, they're playing it safe. They want to build on Switch. Switch is now a foundation for them to build on, which I think, especially in the gaming climate of today, games are getting more and more expensive to develop. Games are riskier to develop. Playing it safe, at least right now, seems to be a smart move. When others are basically floundering in this environment, doubling down on a proven success and iterating on that, I think makes sense.
I mean, I'm glad, to be clear, I'm glad that the Switch 2 is just a stronger Switch. That's all I really wanted out of this.
Yeah, that is what we asked for.
Right? Like a curveball on top of that could have been fun, but...
And there's still some wild card potential there with that third mode / that button, who knows. But yeah, I agree with you. I am glad that this is what the next Nintendo console ended up being. Like, yes, I like seeing Nintendo innovate, but a lot of times those innovations lead to things that I'm not too big of a fan of. Like, the Wii kicking off this whole veer off into motion controls for the industry, I was not a huge fan of that. I thought the Wii U was a cool novelty for like the first few months. Like the tablet, the asynchronous multiplayer, that was cool, but it ended up just being a gimmick. It wasn't really something to build a generation around.
I was actually a hater on the Wii U from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was super against it
Understandable.
until some games came out that I wanted. Pikmin 3. I thought a Zelda game was coming. That never really happened.
Breath of the Wild, man.
Yeah, my favorite Wii U game, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, right.
That's how everyone remembers it.
Yeah, so with that history in mind, yeah, I am glad, even if there's no like secret, oh, this button turns it into a spaceship, whatever,
Yeah.
type reveal, like I'm glad that this is what we're getting. We're getting more powerful Switch. We're getting a Switch that will be able to play modern third-party games,
Yeah.
and we're getting, I think, and I mean, obviously this is just my conjecture, but I think we're gonna get a very strong first-party lineup for the launch of this thing and the life cycle of this thing, because if you look at how Nintendo supported Switch 1 with first party throughout its life cycle, it's just it's a GOAT tier console in that respect. Like
Yeah.
every year you had
yeah.
something substantive. Multiple substantive games come to this thing. And I do think this past year or so there haven't been like post Tears of the Kingdom, there haven't been massive bombshell releases on Switch, and I think that's because a lot of these games are being developed for Switch 2.
To be fair, we do have Metroid Prime 4 coming, which is a decade
Yeah, Prime 4
in the making bombshell.
Prime 4 might be like the send-off for the Switch / also a launch game.
It'll be
for
the
Switch
Breath
2.
of the Wild of the Switch 2.
I could see that very easily happening. Even without the games, I think they need to do another deep dive on this thing. Like, this was just the announcement. This was just there to whet people's appetite. And it worked, right? Like, this thing has, I don't know, like 20 million plus views on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Which, incidentally, I compared it to the PS4, PS5 launch trailers, and it's outstripping both of those combined. So there's a hunger for this console, basically on a level that, on an unprecedented level. Like, people want this thing.
Yeah.
So it is Nintendo's game to lose at this point, right? Like,
Yeah.
they better show up April 2nd with very compelling launch lineup. They better talk about this thing in the weeks and months to come, before this thing launches. Well, that's another question. When do you guys think this thing will launch?
June.
If we're getting a direct in April.
I think it comes out
summer?
June. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
June 10th, 15th,
Yeah.
mid-June.
You think $400?
I think there might be a $350 SKU if they do 2 SKUs. There might be like a $350 and a $400, but I think there's going to be a $400.
Yeah.
It's just, you're saying it's Nintendo's game to lose, and I agree with you, but it is like a vastly different market now than it was.
It is. Yeah.
Because, 8 years ago, was it 8? No. Yeah, 8 years ago.
It'll be 8 when
the Switch came out, the idea of a portable that could play AAA games was unheard of.
Unheard of. And it was seen as Nintendo being kooky again, right? Like, this is never going to work.
And now there's like a million of
But
them.
they pulled it off. Yeah. They changed the paradigm again.
There are like emulation handhelds that can emulate Switch games now for like $200 or $300. There are, and those can also play a bunch of Android games, which that ecosystem has been growing. And then you also have the entire PS2 library and everything older than that. Yeah, I really like emulation handhelds conceptually now. You also have the Steam Deck. You have the million Steam Deck knockoffs that are all going to be running SteamOS now, potentially. It's not so much that those are, I think, a reasonable competitor from the normie perspective, but it is a level of scrutiny that the Nintendo Switch didn't face at all, which is like, how do you stack up against the competition spec-wise? And at the time, it didn't matter because nobody else was doing this, and it matters a little bit now. And they have the DLSS advantage, but
they do have DLSS.
Maybe.
But I would argue that graphics and the performance seem to matter more for everyone else than they do for Nintendo. If Nintendo supplies the games, even if this thing is underpowered, which I do suspect that when all said and done, I think we'll be a little underwhelmed by this
100%.
thing's power, right? Like,
I
that's a
suspect it's going to be like exactly a Steam Deck.
That's not going to matter, right? Like, that's not going to matter if this thing has the new Zelda, the new Mario, the new Smash, the new Kart. But I guess my question is, like, yes, we're going to get these games. Are they just going to be shinier versions of their Switch counterparts?
I hope
Or
not.
will they change the formula up a little bit? Because, I mean, look at it. We're getting Mario Kart 9, right? We've had 9 Mario Karts.
Well, there was no Switch
and-
Mario Kart.
Right. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, conceivably, is like the Smash Ultimate of Mario Kart. You can't really
It's tough to beat.
top Mario Kart. There were like 100 tracks in that game.
90, yeah. Did they break 100
characters. I don't know if they made
I think it
100,
was
but seems
96
like that.
total.
Yeah.
I know
And-
it was at least 90.
And, like, I guess where you go, like, a conceivable avenue is to just cram it full of more carts, but I don't think that's the path forward. Similarly with Smash Ultimate, I don't think that's the path forward. You can't have more characters than Smash Ultimate.
So what I would like, do we just want to talk games for a second?
Sure.
Because what I would like to see from the next Smash game is, and I think you'll get a lot of heat for this potentially, or I'll get a lot of heat for this potentially, but I believe this strongly. I think there are a lot of characters in Smash Bros. Whose moveset should be reworked entirely. I don't think that Kid Link and Adult Link should have essentially identical movesets. I think they should just make a new one. I don't think Ganondorf should have an identical moveset to Captain Falcon. That was a conceit made 20 years ago to get a game out on time. Ganondorf deserves his own moveset. I think I don't want new characters as much as I would like for them to go back and actually make some of the characters that are already in the game that didn't really get the love. Like Luigi's moveset is fine. It's not too similar to Mario. But like Mario's moveset changed over the years to reflect his newer games. I could see a lot of characters getting that. Maybe Princess
and so
Peach
did
gets
Luigi's,
some to reflect
right?
her
Like
games.
Luigi in the original Smash 64 was basically just a Mario clone.
Yeah.
But Luigi's been differentiated over time. He has his Luigi's Mansion gear and his weird rocket attack,
Yeah.
which I don't really know why he has that, but still, it's different from Mario. But yeah, no, I agree with you in that I think radical changes need to be made to these long-running franchises. Like, there's one of two paths. One is just bigger and better, which, like, they already did that with Switch for Kart and Smash. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you can really go bigger and better than those two games. So, new direction it is, I think. And I think that's the likely outcome. For both Kart and Smash, we're going to see some new ideas thrown into the mix that'll shake things up. And I'm
I mean,
excited to
Mario
see
Kart
that.
has an easy slam dunk, in my opinion, which is just adding more other games to it, making it Smash Kart. That's like
right, yes.
that's an easy, like, I would love some Kirby stuff, like Kirby Air Ride representation in Mario Kart. I'd love to get
Yeah,
more
and have
Zelda
Kirby
levels.
riding his little star.
Yeah.
Right? Like, make it, just
a Metroid
Smashify
track
it.
could be super fun. Yeah, there's a ton of potential in other Nintendo IPs to visit that they just haven't yet. I mean, they've done F-Zero, they've done Legend of Zelda, they've done Animal Crossing. All of those were excellent, by the way. I just want more of that. I really liked it. They have already dipped their toe. And like we say that Mario Kart 8 has 96 tracks. So many of those are just like the DLC was just packs from Tour. Those tracks are
a
not,
lot of them are like kind of remastered old tracks, packs from Tour.
they don't
But
hold
every
up.
pack had like one or so
Yeah.
map, and those were like the highlights of
Then
the
they
pack,
were
for
incredible.
sure.
Yeah, like Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's Island is probably my favorite track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Ninja Hideaway,
Oh,
so
super
good.
good. Yeah, I like
Incredible
the
track.
bathroom one too. I forget what it was called.
Oh yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were bangers in there. Far be it for me to say there are not bangers, but we haven't gotten a new set of tracks that are all up to snuff in a long time. So we'll be inundated with them, I think, in Mario
Yeah.
Kart 9.
And especially if they go the Smash route, they have all these interesting franchises to pull from
Mm-hmm.
to create tracks around. That'll be really cool to see.
I do think people need to settle their expectations a little bit though, because the 48
We're not getting 100 tracks.
We're not getting
in this
48
game.
likely. I think 36
I doubt it, yeah.
is a very likely number of tracks to get, because I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe included the DLC from the Wii U game. And so I kind
Yeah.
of doubt we're going to hit that 48 initially. And even in that, typically they do half new tracks and half recreations of old tracks.
And I don't see that changing. Like, Mario Kart has such a huge history at this point. It would be a shame to lose those tracks forever.
Yeah.
in the new entry at least.
I
so-
would actually be kind of okay if they just
I
gave us...
I would be okay with it
I would
because
be
their
okay
new
with
tracks are generally so good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, what I was
I would
going to
be
say
okay
is I
with
would like for them to just sell the old tracks as DLC because I wouldn't buy them because I don't care
Yeah.
that much about them. I already have Mario Kart 8. I can play all those tracks there. It'll
I
still
think
run on my Switch too.
Realistically, we will have like many of the map slots taken up by old remastered maps. I don't see that changing. But what do you think they could do for Smash to make it fresh?
I mean,
Goku.
sorry. Goku. So
That's
true.
all I got.
in?
No, I think
unless they totally revamp movesets for a lot of characters.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Just
Really-
change the controls.
There's
well,
really
really?
nothing they could do to, make Smash feel different. Because every time they do, the community will inevitably go back to a Smash game that released 20 years ago,
You just can't put 96 characters in it either. I don't know how many
I
characters are in
think
Smash
keeping every
Ultimate.
character's fine. I just think at this point they need more diverse movesets for the OG characters.
Yeah, I
I
think
agree
that's
with that.
probably the move, right? Like, and I wouldn't be surprised to see control changes too.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what those would be, but I think Smash has gone on long enough to warrant some major changes.
The thing about it is, say like Ganondorf. Ganondorf is still using a lot of the concepts that were produced in Melee.
Yeah. Like I
You
was saying
know.
earlier, he's a Captain Falcon clone.
Yeah.
Like
And
they and
there have
Fox
been-
and Falco and Wolf are all just a moveset that has nothing to
Yeah.
do with their games, and they've had
And-
games now where
and
they're
at this
outside
point,
of the X-wing or
we've had-
X-wing, R-wing.
so many iterations of Ganondorf since Melee. We've had
Yeah.
Twilight Princess, we've had Wind Waker, we've had
Tears
Breath
of
of
the
the
Kingdom.
Wild.
Breath of the Wild,
Yeah,
Tears of the
Tears
Kingdom.
Yeah,
Breath of the Wild, it was Calamity Ganon. It's a different whole
right. Yeah.
beast at that point.
Yeah, it's
But
more of a
we've had-
stage than a character.
We've had a lot of iterations of Ganon that could do a lot of interesting things, and I honestly would not see it, could believe it if they took Ganon and gave him more of his moveset from Tears of the Kingdom.
That's what I'd love to see.
Yeah,
I'd love to see
give
Link
him a
have his
counter.
moveset from Tears of
Yeah.
the Kingdom.
Give Ganon a counter. See what happens.
All right, yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what we need.
Link will definitely get up because he got updated for Breath of the Wild in Ultimate.
Yeah, he
so-
What
did.
if he builds a little car and then
Yeah.
runs you over with it?
What if he is just worse than the previous Link, just a little bit in every way?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
What if he just has slightly worse stats and like is like almost exactly the same, but just not as fun because you've already played as him?
what if he could fuse things to his bow? What
Yeah.
if he becomes even a funnier projectile character?
He could have items.
could have
Of the
items.
first character that is item centric in Smash.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I mean,
God.
I don't have any doubt they'll do right by Link. They always do. Like, Link always seems to be updated with every game, with like his most recent incarnation. But
I
yeah,
could
like
see
some of the
them
others.
adding more Echo Fighters, but Echo Fighters are kind of lame. Like, I don't
See,
want another Sonic the Hedgehog.
But that was
Like,
that was Ultimate's gimmick. Ultimate's gimmick was, yes, everyone's here, and we're just going to cram this full of fighters. I don't know if you
Yeah.
could do that again.
No,
Like,
I think they should cut every Fire Emblem character first. and
oh my
foremost.
God,
Take
that's
out
just-
Sora.
that's hater.
Take out
All right, you can't take out Marth and Roy. They're
keep
they're too-
Martha and Roy, but you cut every other Fire Emblem character. You cut Sephiroth. Cut
No, I'd say keep them all in there. They're all balanced. They're all fine. I wouldn't say you should
Yeah, they're
cut
just
any
lame.
characters. You just don't need Echo characters. I think if you can't add a character to a game, sorry, Shadow the Hedgehog fans, if you can't add a character to the name and somehow diversify their moveset from the base character, then they
Yeah,
don't
but
deserve it.
that's the conceit of
That's
Echo
it.
Fighters. The conceit was
Yeah.
that they were cheap to add because the moveset was already done.
because
Like,
the goal with Ultimate was just quantity. Like, obviously the quality was there, but quantity was like the principal goal there.
and
And I think the focus should shift to quality with this
Yeah.
next Smash.
I mean, you already have 90 some good fighters with a couple Echo Fighters.
Is it 90?
Yeah, something like
It's
that.
a lot.
It's a lot. There's a lot of Smash characters now. They're all good. They're all okay in their own way. Some of them
I just like because
could
they
use
have
a
to
little tweak.
rebalance every game they make. You can't ask Sakurai to balance 100 characters. That's
no, if I
I
could
mean-
see this next Smash game having 30 characters.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I'd be
I-
excited.
I wouldn't
for
be
it.
surprised. Yeah.
I think we're still gonna get all the characters.
And give me
I don't think
DLC
Sakurai's
throughout the
gonna cut.
whole DLC throughout the whole lifespan of the console.
But
Yeah, so Sakurai, like, you bring up a good point where Sakurai, he always says, like, I'm ready to retire, but then he can never let go. So
Yeah.
it could just be the case where he
he's.
puts in the legwork of getting everyone back again.
You want me to
That
put
would
money
be
on the table right
insane.
now? I'll do it. He's working on the new Smash game right now. Like,
Oh,
he
absolutely.
shut down his YouTube channel
Without a question,
that he
yeah.
was like killing it on. I loved that channel, but he's ended it.
Maybe he's making a Kirby game. I can hope.
Yeah,
right?
I could see Sakurai making. I mean, obviously he makes Kirby, but like Smash is his baby.
Yeah.
He has to be making Smash. Like even when he says he's done with it, he can never fully walk away. I mean, he's gonna walk away when he's dead. So if there is a new Smash game coming and Sakurai is still alive, that man is gonna be making it.
Do you guys know the story about Smash Wii U for what Iwata did to Sakurai?
Yeah, right. Like where he like didn't even know he was supposed to be making it or something.
They went on stage and announced Smash for Wii U and 3DS, and then behind the scenes, I don't remember the exact wording, but I think it was like Sakurai asked, "Hey, who's directing this?" And Iwata said, "You, if you'll do it." And Sakurai said, "What if I don't do it?" Iwata said, "It'll be a worse game."
It'll be a worse. There was no contract negotiations. No, if you don't do it, we'll fire you. He's like, it'll be a bad game if you don't do it.
Well, they can't fire him. He doesn't work for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Sakurai has his own company. They contract him.
He has too
for
much
Smash
pride,
Bros.
though. Like
Yeah.
he has,
They
that
they
Japanese
challenged
pride.
his pride rather than
Yeah,
threatening him.
No, I mean, they were offering him a job. They were just like,
Yeah.
we're making this game one way or another. Smash is our
with
IP.
or without you. Yeah,
We'd love for you to do it because you
Yeah.
make good games. But
It'd be a worse game if you didn't do it, you know?
yeah.
And he begrudgingly said, yeah, I guess.
yeah. So obviously, Smash, Kart, those are known quantities. Those are coming. We have any out of pocket guesses game wise?
Pikmin 5.
I do think.
Pikmin 5.
Well, I do think Animal Crossing has been fast tracked after.
Yeah,
how
I
well
agree. Yeah.
the other one performed. So
And maybe
it
this
wouldn't
time it
surprise me
won't
to see
be-
that
Maybe
sooner
this
rather
time
than
it'll be
later.
finished.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it'll have functional online.
I think we're not going to see a Zelda game this year. Maybe
Yeah,
not even
Zelda's
next
on
year.
break.
Yeah.
3D
We're gonna
Mario
get
though.
3D Mario.
sure.
Probably a 2D Mario. We haven't had. No, we just had Mario Wonder. I was gonna say we haven't had a 2D Mario, but that was just the game felt short. I forget about it a lot of the time. It was
Yeah.
good, but 2D Mario I think you can make pretty quick though. So we could get a 2D Mario next year, I believe.
I think we're getting a 3D Mario this year.
I think
Yeah,
so too.
maybe.
Yeah,
Probably not
which
at
is
launch.
very exciting. I mean, like that's not at launch, but if it was at launch, just like
Here's
this
my
thing's gonna
bold,
fly off
my
the shelves.
super bold prediction. We're gonna get a Zelda game. We're gonna get a Zelda game.
I don't believe you.
For the Switch
That'd
2.
be crazy.
Well, not at launch. Not at launch.
Oh
of
yeah,
course.
okay. Well, yeah, it's gonna
Not
come
at
to the
launch.
console.
But it's gonna come to the console, and I'm gonna put it on the floor now that it is gonna be so different from Breath of the Wild and Tears of
Yeah.
the Kingdom that it's gonna be another iteration on the whole concept.
I
Bold
agree with
prediction.
that, yeah.
I think they're gonna cut a lot of the open world elements of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and kind
there's
of
no
focus
way.
more on that old
They've said-
style.
They've said open air is the future, and
Yeah.
you've seen the sales numbers. There's no way that
They-
it's not an open air game.
But
it'll
Zelda
be open,
has
but it will
been-
be markedly different
Yeah.
from Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I think.
It's because Zelda's been known as a franchise to kind of do things differently for a while now, or at least try to. Because you think about it, they went from a 2D game of what's the name? Link to the Past. I forgot it for a second there. To Ocarina of Time. And then they introduced the next game in the series, Majora's Mask, which used a whole 3-day time loop mechanic that's never been touched since then.
yeah,
Then they put you on a boat in the next game?
okay, but that wasn't like out. What really happened is they made Ocarina of Time, and then they did something weird with Majora's Mask, and then they made Ocarina of Time again, and then they made Ocarina of Time again, and then
No,
they made
they made
Ocarina of
Wind
Time again.
Wind Waker wasn't Ocarina of Time. It was so different that they're like, oh, we should go back to Ocarina
It
of
is an
Time.
absolute like they stuck to a very strict formula for their and
I mean,
frankly,
yeah,
Ocarina of
it
Time
worked.
was just a Link to the Past again. They figured out a formula, and then they did it over and over and over again until Breath of the Wild.
They kind of iterated on it until Breath of the Wild. I think
that's what they'll do
around
now.
Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
They
but-
can't throw away that tech stack from Tears of the
Yeah.
Kingdom. They made this immaculate like they made physics that like AAA
I know it
developers
won't
were
be in the
saying was
same Hyrule.
impossible.
It will definitely not be in the same Hyrule.
Oh no, it can't be.
Like
That would be
they're
suicide.
done with Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Hyrule. It's going to be a completely different world.
If they do that Hyrule again, I won't buy it.
Watch them do
It'd be
it.
such a waste of time.
Watch them just do the Ocarina of Time Hyrule, that version of Hyrule, and then just give it the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom treatment. Watch them just remake Ocarina of Time, but
I mean, it might not even be in Hyrule.
Open air,
Ocarina of Time. That'd kind of be hype, actually.
That's what they wanted to do with Tears of the Kingdom.
That'd be so hype. That would be so hype, actually. Never mind. This sounds like the best game ever released.
But they can't throw away that tech stack for the because they made this like brilliant 3D physics like that I've never seen in another game. I've never seen another game do physics so well. It's insanely
impressive.
And then they don't ask you to engage with it at all. They completely wasted it. And they have to make a game that actually uses those systems.
That's the key about these open world games. Like Tears of the Kingdom. That's why I enjoyed it. Is because, sure, if you play a game like Deus Ex or any immersive sim, there's an easy way to go through everything. You could theoretically go through the game not interacting with any of those systems and just blowing heads off. And in fact, it's oftentimes the optimal way.
Yeah.
But alternatively, you'll get rewarded for engaging with the systems. And that's what Tears of the Kingdom did. Like, sure, you could.
I disagree.
We're not doing this.
Yeah.
Because
we're not.
You get nothing for doing it.
Yeah.
There's no reward.
I'm gonna.
Okay, no, I agree.
Zelda discussion can happen at another time.
We'll do another Tears of the Kingdom episode sometime.
So I can iterate that I liked the game more than I liked Breath of the Wild.
But okay, so Zelda's out for the first year or two, I think.
Yeah, we're not getting a new.
Have you guys seen the online
Mario's
test?
happening, Kart's happening. Yeah, sorry, online test?
There's some weird Nintendo Switch online test that there were rumors going on about. It's like a game, but they just called it a Nintendo Switch online test. They invited a select few people.
Is this for Switch 2 or?
The test was for Nintendo Switch, but I imagine
they
the game
might be beefing up their online services. Which
is that what you think it is? Have you seen the leak?
I think so. If they're testing that, they're probably beefing up their online services because they've been infamously bad for.
Well, yeah, but have you seen the leak? Like, have you actually seen the video?
No, I haven't.
It's a game that nobody knows what it is, and
that's interesting.
It's like a fully formed new IP.
Oh wow!
Well, it's not fully formed, but there's enough of it there that it doesn't seem like it is just an online test. It seems like it is a game, and nobody knows what it was. And they were under NDA, but somebody streamed it, and so that's how the footage is out there.
And taking a bullet for the people.
It looks like a game. Like, it has art and everything, so it's probably not just an online test. But they were calling it an online test. And
Strand type game.
Maybe. It was very strange looking at, like, I think I remember seeing like voxels. It looked blocky, like Minecraft kinda. I don't remember. I watched it a while ago. And it's also like kind of boring to watch. There's not much to it yet. But that could be launch window, Switch 2, potentially. New IP.
Yeah,
we probably will get a weird IP.
I'm looking forward to just hearing more. I want Nintendo to start talking now that this thing has been announced, and they're doing that their live demo things where it was weird because they had like a raffle system. Like, you could sign up. You don't have to pay to do this booth. It's free if you get selected.
Yeah, but it's only in like New York, LA. It's only in a few
so if you live in one of those places, obviously it's much easier. But
yeah.
But like that surprised me. It's just like not like a pay to play this thing. It's you might get randomly selected if you sign up.
It's so confusing to me about the way they're handling that. Is like, it's not like it's expensive for you to bring it to a different city. It's a portable console, guys. You can pick it up and carry it to like anywhere in the US.
Yeah.
Why is it like these 3 select locations?
Well, it's because those are like the major metropolitan hubs. It's probably just easier for them to operate there. And
I mean, aren't they just doing it out of a van? Like,
I don't know. Like, I don't know how they're doing it.
Like, that's how it usually is. It's like the back of a truck or something.
Probably have snipers trained on you every move.
Do you think we're getting a Pokemon game on the Switch?
Just don't exit the kill box.
We don't know. That thing. I suspect Pokemon won't come to the Switch 2 for another 2 or 3 years. That's what they typically do. They were super late to the Switch. They kept making stuff on the 3DS.
Honestly, I think the development quality of Pokemon will go down as they iterate upon consoles.
I agree.
That's what it's done. It's a series that has.
It's funny that you put it like that, but that's kind of true.
Backwards as they've gotten more advanced specs.
I've had people telling me that they're excited for the Switch 2 because they think Pokemon will finally run well, and I genuinely believe like there's no reason to think
too
that
ambitious.
they will lower their performance target to match the
Pokemon
hardware.
could run well on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's not a Switch problem.
It's not a Switch problem.
It's a developer problem.
It's because they don't know how to optimize. They
There's
never
well,
have
no,
to. Well,
we have no reason to believe that it's the developer's fault, and every reason to believe that they're rushing them,
Yeah,
that they
I
don't
think
have
it's
the funding
rushed.
they need. Yeah.
I think it's just because they know if they release a Pokemon game, everyone will buy it, no matter how bad it runs or how terrible it performs. You will buy Pokemon.
I there's also reason to believe that Game Freak sees Pokemon as a cage that they live in.
Yeah.
They've tried over and over to get another IP, and as it turns out, they can't make a fun game. So
I think it's
they're kind of stuck in the Pokemon cage forever.
It must be a certain kind of personal hell to have worked at Game Freak for 20 years, and the only thing you have been able to do is make Pokemon games.
Yeah,
I mean,
that everybody complains about and buys anyway.
There could be worse things. You're very successful, right? Like
my job.
You might be bored, but you're very
but
successful. Like these games sell tens of millions of copies. So
yeah,
it just feels it has to feel creatively stifling,
every time a Pokemon game comes out, the uproar is like, Nintendo, please take this away from Game Freak because they can't do it right. And I agree. They've proven over and over again, like for whatever reason, management or developer, Game Freak can't make a good Pokemon game. They don't know how to do it.
How disastrous it was for them to move to 3D.
Yeah.
Because the downfall started with the 3DS.
Yeah.
It's just wild that as they've upped their fidelity and everything, the games have just gotten worse.
Oh, well, okay, so I think largely that's true, but I think with the recent, Scarlet Violet was an improvement.
I think mechanically, Scarlet and Violet are the best Pokemon games ever made. Mechanically, it's just like it makes my eyes bleed to look at them. Like they're so bad. They're so ugly.
Yeah, the visual fidelity. There's no excuse for that. Like it shouldn't look like that. Straight up. But
I would have performance and visual fidelity
if it looked good and played well. I would have probably replayed Scarlet and Violet like a dozen times by now. I was in love with that game on my first playthrough. It's just I tried to go back to it, and it hurts to look at. It makes me a little sick to see these frame rates. And like there's not like, can you name a location in these games? Because the world's so boring. There's nothing there.
How do you go from like the beautiful, beautiful world of Unova in black and white to regions that you can't even think about? Like, everyone knows Pallet Town. Everyone knows Goldenrod City. Everyone knows
they can do it. Area Zero was sick. Everybody remembers Area Zero if they got to it, but not everybody got there.
Everyone knows like Mount Cinder. Everyone knows a lot of these locations in the earlier gen games because they're memorable. You walk into a town in the first 4, 5, 6 generations, whenever black and white was,
and you kind of 5.
Gen 5, and it kind of hits you like, oh, this is visually unique and striking from the last place I was.
Yeah.
You walk into Moss Deep Town in Hoenn, and you're like, oh, this is like a jungle.
Wow. Hoenn, the love of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You walk,
I don't know. Like,
remember any of the Gen 4 towns.
Game Freak didn't think they had to move to 3D because, I mean, newsflash, people are still making 2D games that look beautiful. You don't have to.
Everyone wanted an open world game, but is that really what people wanted?
I think it's
I did.
I think being a 2D open world game would have been fine for Pokemon, or even 2.5D.
Yeah, I actually really like the way. This is an unpopular opinion, but I like the way the Diamond and Pearl remakes look. And I mean, I don't think it. I don't think it's good, but I think when you have failed so colossally to do the other thing, and you show me this thing that you can clearly do, maybe that's what you should do.
I don't know what's with Nintendo and the chibi style though. Recently, is it just big in Japan?
I mean, but I also think it looks fine. It runs well. I've
just noticed that a lot of their recent 2D games have been in that chibi style. And
I love it
been
in
a
Zelda.
real recent thing. Yeah, it's one of those things that's hard to do.
Yeah,
because again, we're from America. We're not Japanese. We don't know how the culture goes over there. So it's from our standpoint, it's like, why are they doing this? But for like a Japanese person, it makes perfect sense because it's what they're culturally doing.
Yeah, but also good art is good art.
Yeah, good art is good art.
As like a One Piece fan.
Yeah. It's just hard to judge like the minutia of why are they going with this art style? Why is everything Nintendo producing this specific style?
I think it's budget.
Yeah.
That art style's cheaper to make. It's
Yeah.
lower detail.
Is it budget? Is it culture? It's so hard to judge these minutia.
But yeah, I don't think we'll get a Pokemon game, like you said,
For a long time.
this year. Well, we might get one on Switch, which obviously
Yeah,
Switch 2 can
Pokemon
play.
ZA.
Switch
yeah.
2 can play all Switch games, and that was the one thing that was confirmed.
That is absolutely
which is cool.
nuts. That thing's going to launch with a massive library.
No information on whether it has any enhancement though.
No, and I would bet no, but
Yeah,
would
me
be
too.
cool.
It'll probably be better frame rates.
They
like less.
So,
For games that had uncapped frame rates that were under 30 or 60, yeah, I would see.
I think Tears of
could
the
see
Kingdom is going to
improvements.
be the best played on Switch 2.
yeah, it'll be a
I
locked
think that
30.
game's going to go nuts.
You get a locked 30. It's an uncapped sub 30 frame rate on Switch. So it'll probably
Man,
be a
the
locked
things,
30.
the things we do for Nintendo games, man.
Yeah.
The things
Yeah.
we tolerate for Nintendo
Things we
games.
tolerate.
I think there's a chance. There's precedent for Nintendo selling enhanced versions of games. For a modest
$5.
it might have been $1 or something. I forget. But they sold a virtual console game you had bought on the Wii. You could upgrade to the Wii U virtual console.
Oh wow.
They did that.
What?
And it cost money, which
That's
is
crazy.
ridiculous. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they like sell an expansion pack.
Oh my gosh, one thing I really
Or-
hope persists. I hope those virtual consoles persist, like the N64, SNES, NES,
I can't imagine
Game
they
Boy.
won't. Yeah.
Like, I hope they persist and they add more. Like, add GameCube and Wii over the course of the Switch 2. Why not? This thing can definitely do it. But yeah, it would be a shame to lose those because
I hate Nintendo.
most of the time I play my Switch nowadays with my friends, it's playing that N64
really?
emulation and playing N64 games. And I have a couple N64 controllers. You know, I'm a huge nostalgia kind of guy, so
I pay for Nintendo Switch Online, so I'll say that before I say what I'm about to say. I pay for Nintendo Switch Online. RetroArch is just a better experience in every way. It's just so much better to play those games on PC with RetroArch. You can set them up however you like them. You can use whatever controller you like, and you can fast forward and you can save state and whatever. And it's
you can do that stuff on the Nintendo emulation too. You can fast forward, save state. Well, I don't know if you can fast forward, but you can save state.
Yeah, RetroArch is just really, really good and really easy to set up. It's just,
But this,
and
but like you know the argument, right? Like this comes with your Nintendo subscription, and you don't have to do any setup at all.
It's frankly the only value to a Nintendo subscription. What
It's
what
the
Nintendo
online,
games do you
right?
play online?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think that's going to change with the Switch too. Like, if this thing is getting the Call of Duties, the more popular multiplayer third-party games, then they better sort out their network infrastructure.
Because I was sitting around thinking if I should cancel my Nintendo Switch Online subscription here recently. Because I was thinking like, oh man, I probably shouldn't pay a yearly subscription to play Mario Kart once every 8 months. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm part of a family plan, so that's
Me
pretty
too.
convenient.
But
I basically pay $10 a year or something. Is
well,
it
it's
10 or
only
20?
like 30.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
only like $35 for a family plan. I have a family plan, and I just pay it, and I let all my friends join it because
Oh,
I
okay,
was like,
cool.
whatever. It's not that expensive. It's like $30 a year.
No, it's definitely more than $30 a year.
I
But
think it's $35 a year for a
It's-
family plan.
there's no way.
Dude, it's really cheap. It's not more than 60. It was small enough that I was like, no, everybody can just join. I really don't care. I don't have the premium one. I have the lower tier.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. So
There's 2 tiers.
we
yeah.
do the premium one. Yeah, the lower tier one is $35, which is just
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing. compared
Don't
to
you
what-
dare call it a good value.
I mean, it's
not a
nothing.
good
No, I was
value.
gonna say it's nothing
Yeah.
compared to what Sony and Microsoft are asking.
Which is also a terrible value. Paying console players paying for online is like they just have you guys. Like you have no choice, but
Yeah, it's
it's
kind of like
ridiculous.
grandfathered in, right? Like they started
because they
it
provide nothing.
in
Like
the
they're not
360
running
era.
they don't run the game servers. They don't run like they're providing they don't provide anything Steam doesn't provide for
Yeah,
free.
they just condition
It's-
the audience to deal with it. They do provide the free games every month, which is something, but
Right, that's new. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't do that, but they do their retro games.
yeah. So
I forgot about the free games every month.
anyway,
Some of the PlayStation ones are pretty good these days.
we were kind of all over the place here, but do we have any final thoughts on Switch 2 before we move on?
I'm gonna buy it, but I'm not that excited for it.
I'm excited for it just based off the way it looks, which is all we have at this point. And I think
Yeah.
once they announce the games, I'll be very excited for it. What about you, Mike?
I'm just kind of lost.
Are you gonna
the
buy it?
sauce. The Switch 2? Maybe. Money's tough.
The Switch
It's
2, the
rough
topic
out
of the
here.
episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough out there.
That's
Yeah, that
fair.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The analysts are saying that the Switch 2 is not going to sell as well as the Switch, and I think they should
I
shut up
mean-
because how could you possibly predict that? But also,
well,
people have
and
less
probably
money.
in America, yeah.
Analysts are also saying GTA 5 costing $100 could uplift the game industry. They don't know what they're
Dude,
talking
I'm not
about.
spending $100 to $60 to like $80 to $100 for a game that Rockstar has been
GTA
making for
6,
8 years. I'm not rewarding them for this. I'm sorry. I am the biggest hater right now. I hope that GTA 6 flops.
If
I
I
hope
can,
that everyone
yeah.
buys this game and thinks, "Wow, this is what we
It's
waited
not
a
gonna flop.
decade for."
it's not going to
Yeah.
flop.
I
I-
hope it like
It's just Rockstar has
Ah.
one good game, and they think they rule the world. It's Max Payne 3. That's the only good game they've
it's
ever
so
made.
bad. It's GTA is. I'm gonna say it. Rockstar doesn't produce these world-shattering games. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be the hater.
Okay, GTA 3 was.
Yeah.
I can't.
They haven't produced a world shatterer in generations.
No, they haven't.
Like,
or even a good game.
I'm gonna
since
say it. Red
Max Payne
Dead
3.
2. Even though I played a lot of it, having went and tried to replay it, I was bored.
It's a
I
lot of
was
riding horse
just
around.
Absolutely bored. I got to
All right,
Valentine.
we're not
I'm like,
doing this. We're not doing
wait.
this. We're gonna break this off here because otherwise
this is
we'll
my
be here
games
for
I've
another
been
hour.
playing. I'll talk about it.
We could just do an episode where me and Mike hate on games that Ahmed likes.
Oh my god, it's not. It's
I mean,
Hot Takes
I
Part
will
2.
rebut all of your points, and it'll be
Hot
an
Takes
hour
Part
plus
2.
of bickering.
Hot Takes
but-
Part 2. Let's go.
I'm ready.
Okay, so what have you been playing? I have 2.
I haven't played I've been back on Monster Hunter Rise because I tried to play some. I actually tried to play Red Dead 2, and
Oh, God.
it
Again?
wanted me to. Well, I never got very far in it, so I was like, you know what? I got no other games right now. I didn't hate it. I just think it's boring. And so I fired it up to play it, and it asked me to enter my Rockstar password, and I was sitting on my couch, and that game is not worth getting up and walking over to my desk, so I started playing Monster Hunter Rise instead, and that game continues to be amazing.
You got anything else to say?
Nope, that's it. Just a good game.
All right. So I continue to play Dead Cells, and the more I play this game, the more I'm like, this game rules. This is a very, very good roguelite. I think it's up there with. I know you're not the biggest Hades fan, Connor, but I think it's up there with Hades in terms
I think
of
Hades is
like,
a good game.
one of my favorite roguelites. It's
Yeah.
there's just so much to it, especially now that I'm playing it after all the DLC is out. There's still entire biomes I have not discovered yet, like quite a few actually. I still have not fully beaten a run. I've gotten to the final boss. Haven't been able to get past that yet though. It is a very tough game. It is a game that obviously there's an element of luck to all roguelites, but this game demands a lot of skill too. Like even if you have a really good build, if you're not able to dodge or parry, you're going to die. I've yet to, and I'm sure they probably exist, but I have yet to discover a build that just steamrolls the whole game. And again,
Yeah, that was my experience too when I played it a long time ago. It never felt like anything was. I never felt that much more powerful. It felt like I was making lateral moves mostly with the weapons I got.
There were some builds in Hades that just the game's over when you have certain combinations. And I'm comparing it with Hades because I think these games came out around the same time, and there was a lot of back and forth between these two, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it seems like it's a very well-balanced, difficult game. And I'm not even playing on like the difficulty modifiers. Like I found out that after you finish one whole run, like beat the final boss, you can make the game harder like you can in like most roguelites, right? And
Oh my God,
I'm
yeah.
like, I can't even imagine because like I'm so struggling so much with the base game. But it is a game where I can feel myself getting better. There are little movement tricks to optimize how you're moving through the game and how you're attacking and canceling animations and that. Like I'm starting to get better at the game. But it's just a joy playing it because it's still just giving me so many fresh discoveries the more I play. Like new weapons, new shields, new bows, weapons and things from other games still continue to show up very frequently. Like Dead Cells is very much a love letter to other indie games. And I just last night unlocked the final rune that I did not have. And like, if you don't know, runes are basically like the permanent ability upgrades. So the last one I got allow you to climb up walls like a spider, right? And
Ooh.
obviously that's huge because like that opens up areas of each biome that were previously completely inaccessible. So I'm very much looking forward to getting back to playing it, putting that ability to good use, and exploring even more. It's just a fantastic game, man, and it's sucking up like almost all of my attention, which is cool because this is a 7-year-old game at this point, and I'm just now falling into it for the first time. I'm loving it. All right, Mike.
Been doing nothing but playing Marvel Rivals every
I've been playing a good bit of that
waking
too.
moment of my life.
It's good.
It's so good.
I find it harder to resist the pull because I see this game everywhere, just everywhere.
You gotta
Yeah.
hop on with us, man.
on,
The
on social
more-
media and everything. Like this is like inundated every aspect.
The more I play Marvel Rivals, the more I fall in love with the game. And I don't know what they've done with it, but this is probably one of the first games that I played and done every single weekly challenge the day it comes up.
Most of the characters are just so fun.
They're so fun.
The only complaint I have is that I very frequently join a game where nobody wants to play tank. The tanks are a little boring, or at least like maybe they're higher skill, and so nobody wants to play them. I don't know. I don't like playing them.
I've never had trouble with someone wanting to play tank, but
Really, I always feel like we have 2 healers
yeah.
and then 4 people fighting over duelists.
we
and
yeah,
nobody
I've
wants to be a
noticed
tank.
that at like lower ranks. I guess.
Oh, that's where I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think my elo sits somewhere in the mid tiers because I usually see 1 tank, 3 DPS, 2 healers a lot. Every character I've touched a good chunk of the healing cast. I've touched a tank or 2. I've touched a good amount of the duelist. Every character that I've played, I have had fun playing, and I would play again.
All the clips I've seen are of Doctor Strange just doing the craziest plays known to man, and it just it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's really fun. Spider-Man is my main. I'm not that good as him, and so I haven't really been playing competitive because people yell at me,
Yeah.
which is fair. Well, it's like 50-50 because like sometimes I'll have a game where I go like 30-2 and I'm just like annihilating everybody, and then I'll have a game where I go like 8-8. Like I very rarely go negative KD, but like a duelist who's only going positive is not that good. So
Like every character in this game, so it's just the destructible environments. The fact that I spent like 30 seconds banging a hole in a wall so I could play Spider-Man through it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
The destructible environments kill me when not like sometimes literally, but I'll be playing a Spider-Man and a chandelier falls on me on the Asgard stage and I can't like web swing away anymore because it's in the way, and then I just get ganged up on in the middle of my like
Or like
gorilla.
I'll figure out there's a destructible wall, so I'll put a hole through it so I could go in and out of that hole in the wall.
Yeah.
There's so much playability with these environments.
So I didn't
Like
even know
someone's
that
using
the environments were destructible. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Not
If
only are they
you-
destructible, but they put like a button in the game that you can press to see what is and isn't destructible, which
Yeah.
is super handy. There's no
And-
guesswork.
And if you destroy enough of something, it will regenerate. It will rebuild itself back up.
Oh,
So the
really?
maps
I didn't
are
know that.
Yeah, if you take down an entire wall, eventually the wall will respawn.
Interesting.
So
They just added a new game mode too. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
actually in the game yet, but there's they put Rocket League in it.
yeah, it's the
It wouldn't be a
it's
live
patch.
service game without some kind of Rocket League, right?
It's soccer. Yeah.
Yeah, they had Splatoon for the winter event.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Yeah, it was Jeff the Shark paint the map.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was funny. It was Jeff's snowball fight.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
man.
their little creative game modes are kind of fun.
I mean, it
Yeah.
really seems like these devs are delivering. Like,
Yeah.
updates seem to come to this game at a very fast clip. They've already got new characters out, and
There are
New
2
game
more
modes.
characters coming out in the next month or so.
I mean, I had this game pegged before launch as like a soulless cash grab, and it just doesn't feel that way playing.
There's
so
I mean,
much soul
there's
in this
obviously a hint of an air of capitalism to the whole thing, to your free to play
I mean,
hero shooter.
That's every game though.
But it
every free to
delivered,
play.
man. It
Yeah, it feels like
delivered
they care. It
in a
feels
way
fun.
that I
Yeah.
was not expecting it to.
The
So that's
fact
cool.
that battle passes don't expire, so there's no FOMO really. The only thing that
Yeah.
expires is your chrono tokens, but at the end of a battle pass, if you have a bunch of chrono tokens, it will charge all of those chrono tokens to that battle pass and give you all the rewards you didn't claim yet.
I'm so glad I don't care about cosmetics in video games, because this game has like 4 currencies and I don't know what any of them are. And it's so confusing.
Yeah. Some of them are interchangeable. Like Lattice is the premium. Units are used to buy skins. Unis and Lattice are 1-to-1 to each other, and then chrono tokens are the battle pass currency. And I think there's a 4th one somewhere down the line.
Sure thing, brother.
It's
Those
a
were
lot.
a lot of
There's-
syllables, man.
There's a lot of words.
And
But-
that's obviously like super predatory. Having like multiple currencies is always predatory, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's a
since
free-to-play
the main
game.
2 currencies do convert, like the paid currency and the skin currency convert 1-to-1. You
Yeah.
see a 1,600 unit skin, you think, oh, it's $16.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's
And
not
you
as
know,
bad.
Blizzard would have charged you $60 for this.
Yeah.
So
Blizzard would have said, "Hey, this currency is like 1.5 or half
God.
half a credit is $1."
they're washed.
Like
It is
So-
cool to see this game kind of eating Overwatch's
it's
lunch.
absolutely
It is the
It is.
new. It is the
Overwatch.
new Overwatch, basically.
I've been playing it 3-4 in the morning, our time on East Coast servers, and still getting instant queues.
It's instant queue.
Like, I've not seen a single day where I haven't gotten a queue as soon as I hit play another game.
and it's polished too. I hate
Oh,
that we
yeah.
live in an era where it's worth saying that, but I've only like gotten one bug the entire time I've played it.
It has some performance optimization issues, but they're
really?
fixing those. Yeah, I've noticed. I've been playing. My brother has a 2070 Ti, right, and I'm on a 3070.
Yeah.
He gets better frames than I do.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, well, he did. Now it's evened off. Now that they've added the ability to turn off global illumination and everything, my frame rates have now skyrocketed. But I'm still getting friends where we'll get random frame drops to 3 frames.
This was one I left the settings on max, and I just like turned up FSR or down FSR, whatever, until it got me to max frame rate. And I straight I can see a difference when the only time I see it is when there's like transparency. So like when you have a teammate behind you and they kind of turn invisible so you can see your character, it gets a little fuzzy. Other than that, like I don't think at a glance I could tell it from native. It's a really good FSR
DLSS
implementation.
doesn't really work as well as FSR does, so I might try it. FSR.
Really?
Yeah,
You
DLSS
don't hear that too often.
not working right. It's been wild. I've used XESS more than I've used DLSS in the game to up my frames.
Okay, XESS works really well too.
I mean,
but
even on low settings, the game's pretty. Like,
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be playing on low settings. I'm playing at 1080p on a 3070. I should be at least mid
you should
to high.
be, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't mind. Honestly,
The other this game does have a bug where I saw this on Instagram. Your frame rate influences how much damage you do. If
yeah,
No
you're
certain
way.
characters.
yeah,
That's
So,
crazy.
PC players have a pretty substantial.
That seems like a
advantage.
severe bug. Like, how is that
But-
okay?
There's something else I've noticed because I've been cross playing with my girlfriend. She's on the PlayStation out in the living room, and I'm on my PC.
Mhm.
You can't queue for ranked between platforms.
No.
I did see that. Yeah.
That's frustrating.
I mean, it's frustrating, but at the same time, like competitive integrity and everything, you don't want to put mouse and keyboard users against controller users.
I mean, if it's their choice,
This is
though, like if they
They're
this is a
taking
game-
it seriously too because they're even banning.
Yeah, people using controller.
but
But you
Converter.
can do what Call
Yeah.
of Duty does, right? Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure you can just say, I don't want to be matched with PC players.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they made it
something.
enforced, and them being super strict on converters is absolutely nuts.
But the other thing is, like, when you're a melee character, I feel like you're not at that big of a disadvantage.
Yeah.
If you're on a controller, the melee heroes are fine on controller,
Yeah,
except
melee
Spider-Man.
auto aim's kind of sick.
Yeah.
Honestly, it makes melee character like if I ever I think it's on PC as well because I've noticed like
It's not for
being a
Spider-Man.
melee character, you kind of have a wide hitbox on your melees,
You do have a wide
which
hitbox.
is nice. It makes them so much more bearable. I'd rather have a melee character where the hitboxes don't work because it's a melee character than a melee character where the hitboxes are super precise.
I agree. This
That's
is like the
only
first
way you're
game
gonna
that's
get a melee
done
character to work.
the like range versus melee. This is the first game I can think of that really does a very good job with that.
Yeah. Like Overwatch has one or two melee No, they only have two, I think. Reinhardt and Junker Queen, and they're both tanks. They have no melee characters that are damaged.
Yeah, with the Iron Fist, Spider-Man,
this game,
Thor.
you have so many damn melee characters. You have Thor, Captain America.
Yeah.
I guess Venom's melee-esque.
Yeah, but he has
like
a
super
lot.
short
He's like
range.
mid-range.
Yeah, he's like a mid-range. Iron Fist, Spider-Man, Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther. Black Panther killed. Like, yeah,
He's so good. You have so many close-range characters.
he's a hard counter to me.
Yeah. Having this many characters where their whole stick is being able to come in close range, and none
Bruce
of them
Banner.
feel like absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man's fine. Spider-Man produces a lot of value if you play him right.
Spider-Man's probably the hardest character in the game, but yeah. I think I said it the other week. The juice is worth the squeeze. It's like worth getting good as Spider-Man because one, it feels good, but also like
feel like you jump into a backline, Merc a support. Sure, you have 5k damage, but you killed 13 support players. So at that point, like you're getting your value. Your damage is all burst.
And you can also you can just pop in, weaken a tank, and then pop out, and you're just keeping the DPS high for the team. Fun.
The key point for a Spider-Man is not to look at how much damage they've done, but how many kills they've gotten, because that's their true value, is diving backlines and just
because you can't run from a Spider-Man. He will.
Once
keep
Spider-Man's on you, you're cooked. If
they got to kill him, or
you're either gonna kill him or he's gonna get low and run away.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the whole dynamic of all the characters. I like the fact that flyers aren't just like half flyers.
Yeah.
Like
no, the fact that Iron Man's just in the air the whole game is super nice.
The only problem I have right now is that Storm is absolutely busted.
Yeah.
She requires a trade of ultimates to even survive, or else she's just going to kill your backline with her ultimate. I have played Storm. I can agree that she's way overtuned right now. There's not much that will ruin her ultimate, and there's not really a lot of counterplay unless you blow an ultimate to counter it. But that's it. I'm hoping they'll nerf her with the next coming season patch, which might come in a couple weeks. But God, I just can't stop thinking about Marvel Rivals. It haunts my dreams. It's so bad.
Launch title for the Switch too, you think?
I think so. I think
probably
as many platforms as they can put this thing on.
I think it's pretty likely.
Yeah. I think at this point I kind of have to play it just out of curiosity. It's too big to ignore. So
I'll let you know when me and Tyler are playing next. You can hop in.
Do you have another game, Connor?
Nah, Marvel Rivals is it.
Okay. So I jumped back into Dragon Ball Sparking Zero because the first DLC pack is out.
Is it good?
The characters feel great. So there are, 11 characters added to this game, and it's all based off the Dragon Ball superhero movie, which I really enjoyed. I don't know how you feel about that, Connor.
I liked it.
But the characters are Gohan, Super Saiyan Gohan, Ultimate Gohan, Beast Gohan, Piccolo Potential Awakened, Orange Piccolo, Giant Orange Piccolo, Gamma 1, Gamma 2, and Cell Max.
That did not make me want to play this game.
So Gohan and Piccolo obviously are the ones I'm interested in, and I basically just played a bunch of CPU matches last night to just play around with those two characters. And in playing the game again after so long, they've refined the game. It feels even nicer to play.
Really? Okay.
They changed some things like how the vanishing works and how the super counters work. So it's more, I guess, a more balanced experience. But just in general, it felt like way tighter, which is great to see because it already felt great.
It already felt really good.
And obviously all the really good fan service is there. Gohan, his entrance is the same entrance as his entrance in Superhero, where he crashes out of the sky in a dramatic way.
Nice.
And he's got the Piccolo cape on and his glasses in his base form. And when he goes Super Saiyan, and then he takes his glasses off and just throws them away. And it's so sick.
That's really good.
And obviously the big fanboy thing here is Beast Gohan. Now, just going back to the movie, I thought it was kind of whatever. It was just okay, this is Gohan.
There was
zero explanation. is just like they didn't even try to explain it. Like even an attempt,
It's an asshole. Yeah.
even an attempt, I would have appreciated, but whatever. I guess it looks cool. But like this game is basically like banging your action figures together, right? So I checked out Beast Gohan in like probably the most broken character in the game. He's like mastered Ultra Instinct level broken. His rush attack, you have like he doesn't rush. He just appears in front of you, and if you don't react to that, you just get hit by it. And his ultimate is really cool. It's like the special beam cannon from the movie, which is cool. But yeah, like Beast Gohan feels incredibly broken, which is fine. Like I'm totally fine with overpowered characters being broken in this game. But what do you know? Like if you read anything about this game, it's just people complaining about competitive play, and I'm like, what are you guys doing being so obsessed with competitive play and Sparking Zero? It's just an annoyance of mine. But anyway, Piccolo was the other character. I never really understood like his potential awakened form, where he just kind of turns yellow and then he turns fully orange when he turns into Orange Piccolo. Once again, like I think I remember from the movie, it was like Shenron who made him this powerful, but like again, it's just
a little
Dragon Ball
bit.
completely stopped trying to make sense, I think, after Z, really.
Especially in the movies.
But yeah, so Orange Piccolo is there, and he's fun to play as well. And it's cool to see Piccolo get some love, even if it is kind of like contrived, his new powers, because Piccolo, I think, is a very, especially in late Z and beyond, an underrated character. He doesn't get a lot of spotlight. So it is cool to get, I guess what I'm saying, 4 new Piccolos in the game.
Especially in Super, he was not
he's very underutilized. But like you'd think with his orange power up now, he's actually competitive with like the powerhouses, so he might be used in future stories, which I guess is all you could ask for. Like Dragon Ball has great characters, they just don't use a lot of them.
If they ever do a future story.
Yeah, if they ever do a future story,
just retelling End of Z.
Go beyond
Worse
End of
every
Z.
time.
Like End of Z, like that's just move past it, please. But anyway,
I'd be down for a reboot personally.
Reboot? Like retell the story?
Start from scratch, retell.
I don't know. Without
cut
Toriyama?
the filler.
Oh, that's what you meant. Like retell. Okay, like a Kai, but
the One Piece.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
that'd be fine. But like, I don't know, new Dragon Ball. Like, even though it's never going to be as good as OG and Z, it's still, like I said, it's like banging action figures together to me.
Yeah.
So. I know the next DLC pack will be Daima. I think the next 2 will be Daima related.
Why bother?
But I don't know. The superhero pack was cool.
Characters.
I did briefly check out Gamma 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They are androids, which I'm not the biggest fan of androids in this game because they can't charge ki.
Do they have different movesets?
Yeah, they have different movesets.
Gamma 1 and 2 didn't have any like signature moves.
Well, even like they really had to improvise here because like Beast Gohan shows up for like 30 seconds to beat Cell at the end of the movie. Yeah. And yet he has a full moveset, right? But like his full moveset is basically just like full power energy wave, which is a shame because like they had to make something of it. I mean, he looks cool doing it, and he has the special beam cannon, obviously, but
that's his ultimate, I assume.
Yeah, that's his ultimate, and it looks really good.
So I'm sure.
I mean, like once again, right? Like the characters themselves, their animations, their super moves, that all looks incredible. Like the best to ever do it. Like Sparking Zero just nails it in that department. And I did play a little bit Cell Max and like Giant Orange Piccolo. I'm not the biggest fan of giant characters, but it is kind of a novelty, so I did check him out. It's whatever.
Did they give us the story of the movie?
No, so they didn't add like the story, but they did add a new mode that I have not checked out yet, which is cool.
What's the mode?
It's some kind of like, I think it's some kind of like boss rush something.
Oh, okay.
But
adding the story of the movie would have not been very difficult.
Yeah, it just would have been like
present story.
4 or 5 fights or something.
I would have liked it. Like,
yeah,
throw me a bone, introduce me to all these fighters, give me a chance to see them all in action. I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been cool, but like my expectation for this really is just the characters.
Just the characters.
Like, and so if I get more than that, I'm like, fine, that's cool. But like, I'm really in it just to play around with these characters. So I had a lot of fun. revisiting Sparking Zero. It still plays great, plays even better than it did before. And especially Piccolo and Gohan, it was fun seeing their latest iterations, even though narratively they don't make a lot of sense, but that's not why we're into Dragon Ball, right? So, fun.
It is a little bit why I'm into Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball used to have good stories.
It used to have a good story, but that's a long time ago at this point.
It's a forgotten age.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it. I think that'll do it for us this week. Thank you all for listening. You can follow us at Podcast Game Talk on YouTube, TikTok, and boy, that sure was a saga, right? We were gone from TikTok for 14 hours, but we're back. Please click the link in the description of this podcast to join our Discord and talk to us there. And please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, or any other podcast services you use. Thank you, Connor and Mike.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.